welcome to another amazing and tantalizing episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and as always, I am joined by Dylan.
Yeah.
Oh man, I want you to guess what number episode this is. It's a pretty, it's a pretty nice one.
Would you say it's a milestone?
Yeah,
I mean, more or less.
Yeah, not probably one of the biggest ones, but
is it 250?
It is.
Fuck.
Yeah, dude.
My God.
Can you believe that? 250 of these bad boys. Oh wait, whoa, keep that in.
Or it's just the time, you know.
Oh yeah, time is,
we convoluted in the
yeah, we know.
in Orlando.
Boy, oh boy, what a
I love that. Because of that fucking Dark Souls meme, I've just built up this image
that
we're casting it in Orlando, the city of the gods.
Hey, just time is elusive and it runs away from us repeatedly. Yeah. We have had we've had a fun time this week, I feel like. It's been pretty good. Everything's at least for me. I don't know about you.
I'm still alive.
You're still alive. I was there was a brief moment where I was like, I may got to do a solo cast just because I like not.
Damn, bro, gonna out me right out the gate.
I mean, hey, just I was gonna say, my homeboy was out cold, and I wasn't gonna be the bad guy to try and wake him up. That's okay, and I'm not shaming not nobody.
Right.
In fact, I was jealous because he was big snoozing, and I was like, damn.
Right. The big conch comes.
I wish I could do that, and so. And I wasn't going to be the guy. I wasn't going to be the bad guy to ruin.
Hey, buddy, wake up. It's time for school.
Right. I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to be that bad of a friend. So anyways, I was just, in case I got too late, I was like, let me just go ahead and, get some things in place just because I
compile the notes.
So I do have a few things I want to talk about, but I want to open this up to you and see if there's anything specifically that you want to talk about first. But I do want to I think you already finished yours, but I went ahead and cracked me open a Guinness, and I put it in my nice official Guinness gravity glass, and it's been a little bit since I've been able to partake in a nice little drink. Nothing crazy, but it's a chill. We're chilling tonight. We're vibing out.
Right.
If you, obviously, I'm not sure if you commute during work while you listen to this podcast, so don't drink while you're doing that.
Right. Just know that while you're on,
or let me say, I officially Hindsight Studios and the Aftermath podcast does not condone
alcohol abuse
during your commute.
Or otherwise.
But if it just happens, I'm playing. I'm kidding.
Right. Are you God's drunkest driver?
Because I don't
certified booze cruiser.
Booze cruiser. But anyways, it's a late night. It's a little chilly outside. Mm-hmm. We're chilling out. We're gonna vibe and hang out and talk for a little bit. And I hope you listeners are able to join along and have a little fun with us and chill out.
Yeah. Thanks for barging in.
No, I invited them here. They're welcome to come and hang out. And if you don't like them, then we can
kill them.
We talked about this.
Oh, okay.
So, anyways, is there anything you want to talk about before I take the stage? Because there's a lot of the things I have are talking points that we can discuss together. But there's a few things that I feel like stop me if you've heard this before. I'm probably going to get on a soapbox and start talking for a little bit. So,
I see. Right. Well. As far as my week is concerned,
okay,
I was able to get my hands on one of the graphic archives for Granblue Fantasy.
And boy, is it beautiful. It is very nice.
That's a given, man. Like, if you've ever seen the artwork for this game, it's drop dead gorgeous.
And that book, there's a couple of different art styles I feel like that game has, in the 3D animation space, in these really artistic 2D spaces, and there's other parts of it as well that are very, but regardless, it's
you can tell what was drawn at the start of the series as opposed to what they got going on now, because it's a world of difference. But I almost really like the original style of it.
Yeah.
But goddamn, bro,
it is so it's beautiful. And oh man, there are so many. For it being one of the first gacha games I've ever really heard about, or ever like even sort of gotten involved in,
right?
There are so many characters and
Hundreds.
so many iconic characters and so many beautiful and handsome characters that are just so nice to look at because you're like, man, it's so artistic,
fucking beautiful.
It's so artistically pleasing, like the outfits and the character shapes and the weird creature design. Oh my gosh!
Lest we forget Bahamut,
dude. The freaking badass, huge ass monsters, dude.
Primals, man.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
and that book has
it's got it all.
It's got it all, and I sat there just flipping through it a little bit, going, ooh. Oh, whoa. And I'm like, yeah.
Jesus.
And I'm like, yeah. So anyways, it's a really cool book, and I'm excited that you got it because it was, I think it was definitely worth it.
I'd say now I just have to get the rest.
That's installment number 4, which is there a reason why you went with the 4th one first, or is it just was the one that was available?
It was just, I was going based on like cover art.
I see.
And I saw that there were more than a few of my mainstays there.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, it's just the first one I decided to nab.
It's all good.
Because, I mean, I figure the first one's... I wanted to make sure that whichever one I got had, like, characters I was interested in.
Right.
And lo and behold, my favorite pair, Zeta and Vasaraga, are in there, of course.
Right.
But, yeah, besides that, I mean, now it's just going to be rounding out the collection.
Right.
But it'll be a nice little tangent on my shelf that I can go back to every now and then.
Oh, yeah. You have, I mean, of your collection of DVDs, games, and books, there are a couple of, like, really nice art books you have. Oh, yeah.
I've got a fair bit. I got some old fucking Prima strategy guides.
Yeah. What a blast from the past.
Yeah, dude. Some of which are actually from the old house. That Ethan, I think, stumbled upon one day and was like, "Do you want these?" I was like, I mean,
Oh, you're talking about my old ones?
Yeah.
Wow. There was a point in time where I collected a couple of them for like games that I really enjoyed a lot. One in particular was that I wore out, and I think eventually, it got thrown away. Was the one for Kingdom Hearts 2?
Oh no, I've got it.
You do?
I think so.
It was either that one. It was either that one or the original Kingdom Hearts. Whatever strategy guide it was, I used it so much and read through it so many times, pages were falling out of it.
Jeez.
That's why I think it got thrown away because it was like it couldn't be held together anymore.
Right. Falling apart.
Literally. Yeah. So it's interesting. I had that one. I had an old Oblivion one. Same way. I think either it's around here, is kicking around in the collection of stuff somewhere, or same thing. I think it was running out of, if the pages were falling out of it because I used it so much.
Just gonna rummage in the ether for a bit.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really cool. There's a couple of art books you have that I want to actually like look through again.
All you got to do is ask.
I know.
At this point, they're just gathering dust.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a cool collection.
Oh yeah.
So one of the first things I kind of wanted to talk about was the fact that Ethan went on his trip out to California.
Yeah, motherfucker put a flower in his hair. Going to San Francisco.
Yeah, he's gonna get all dolled up and have a fun time. So I was in the process of today was taking him out to New Orleans, and we were talking about talking about movies we want to watch again for the podcast a little bit. Mm-hmm. Kind of going over the whole all that stuff.
Right.
And I wanted to bring up our main man leaving a comment.
Oh yeah.
Because again, we have added some of these to the list now, and I want to say this for sure. He says, "Gotta say, I enjoyed that hour-long gooning sesh," which I think in our defense, I don't think it was a full hour of gooning.
Right.
Let's be a little conservative. Right. I will say I probably it was the most for me, and I
We're
probably
not degenerates.
I gushed for
Give us a
probably
little credit.
Only a fraction of that time. But he says in parentheses, I 1000% agree with Ian on this one. Chell would have me barking like a chihuahua. Jesus. And I just want to say thank you for having my back.
Right.
There was definitely a moment where, for any of those who don't know, the previous episode was on the road to El Dorado, and I went on a bit of a tangent about how much I enjoyed the character design and just the animation and the overall depiction of this character.
The perfect storm that is Chell.
Right. And I'm glad to see that there are other people out there that were in my boat, because I felt as I was saying it, I was like,
it's unanimous.
I may be the minority in this table for saying my feelings about that, but I know for a fact there's somebody out there that's with me.
Oh man, trust me, we got the same thoughts. I just ain't gonna say that shit out loud.
That's what I'm saying. Somebody had to say it, and if I got to take that bullet, I'll take it. And then he continues by saying, "Bulletproof Monk is fun, unserious action slop of the type that was cranked out back in the early 2000s," which is exactly what I was thinking that it was whenever I looked at the. I think that they were saying that because I looked at the cover art for it, and I was like, "Oh, this looks." I was like, "This looks like those to the movies," and so to hear that reinforced again. Thank you for my back.
Right.
Because
it's exactly what we're looking for.
It's exactly what I'm looking for, and exactly what it is. Like, okay, cool. Also said it might surprise you, so it's cool to hear. That's already on the list.
Right.
Then he recommended Kung Pao is fantastic.
That shit's been on the list.
He says it's been on the list. I haven't heard it.
To get it my hands.
I haven't heard it on the list, but I've actually, in him describing that movie in certain funny moments, and I was like, you know what? I've actually seen that movie. Yeah. It's been a long time.
Once in a blue moon.
It's been a long time, and I want to watch it again for the podcast. So that's on the list as well, because Ethan has never heard of it or seen it.
Fucking wait.
And then he said, if I may add a recommendation of the same sort, Shaolin Soccer is underrated, and that's one that I've never heard of. Yeah, man. So again, also definitely on the list. So we're gonna get to some of that, but anyways, yeah. It's been a fun week. Had a chance to talk to Ethan in a car ride while I was dropping him off at the airport, and we were talking about future episodes to come, and I think he's going to be hopefully hopping on some more. And I have plans coming up to try and schedule the elusive Kobe.
Really?
We've been talking about it for a long time. We've been hyping this man up.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to bite the bullet, and I'm going to sit down.
Time for the reveal.
It's time for the reveal. I want you guys to hear from our main man, Kobe. He's a gem of a human being. He is such a funny and positive and light person. I mean, and I say all that because again, he has such a unique sense of humor.
Sure.
And
I'd call that motherfucker insurmountable.
I love the guy, and I want to have him here on the podcast so that way he can share his wacky sense of humor with the world. Yeah. So anyways,
it's gonna be a riot.
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna kind of move into this some more as well. Ethan is only going to California for I think a little less than a week, and I told him, I was like, hey, if you need someone to pick you back up from the airport whenever you fly back in, just let me know.
Right.
And he's flying into New Orleans. And as we've said in the podcast before, New Orleans is not a super long trip from where we are.
Right.
But the part that kind of worries me is... Oh, by the way, he's coming back this coming Tuesday.
Oh, fuck.
And so, as Dylan already knows, the greater Louisiana area is expected to experience snow.
Yeah.
And one thing that listeners that aren't from around here may not know, we don't get a lot of snow.
Right.
If you live like up in the top part of Louisiana, like close to Arkansas, like there may be parts and time of the year where it gets cold enough where like you may get something
here and there.
and it's not all the time. But like once you go like a little bit, I mean a little bit further south of that,
right?
Snow.
You enter swamp ass,
and we are we are not at the tip, the tippity top of Louisiana.
Yeah.
We're below that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, just to put things in perspective,
right?
I'm sorry, I was counting in my head.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that, it's like
he's almost certain.
I'm almost certain that it's every like 4 or 5 years, or 3 to 5 years.
Yeah,
we'll get like a freeze. We'll get a snow. We'll get something. The last time I remember it snowed and like stuck on the ground was like 2017. And then after that, another time was we had that hard freeze. It also hit Texas real hard.
Yeah.
And I want to say that was like 21, 22?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
I can't remember if it was 2020. It was in that range. I don't remember exactly. But same thing, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. If it was 21, that's 4 years.
Yeah.
21, we're now in 25, quote unquote, technically,
Sure.
we're at the very, so, but again, we're another 4 years.
Right.
And now all the weather stations are like the greater Louisiana area.
Get ready.
We're about to experience 6 to 7 inches of snow.
Right. Snow
and I'm like,
on his way.
And I'm like, okay. I'm okay with it. I love it.
Right.
I'm thriving.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone around here, oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
When I tell you that every old soul, every old head around here has been, there's been a couple of days the past few weeks that have gotten into like, what is it in Fahrenheit? 30s, mid 30s.
Yeah.
Low, so around freezing temperatures,
right.
Like in the late part of night. And they're like, "Oh, it's so cold." Oh, it's so cold. I'm like, I hate those people that like always try to one up other people on the weather they've experienced or the weather, like, you don't know cold because it's but I hate that. It's like it's weather. Like
you think this weather's bad? Try 4.5 feet of water in your house.
Exactly. I hate that. Like I'm like, oh, it's hot, and they're like, oh, you ain't never lived in Nevada. And I'm like, no, you're right, I haven't, and I
you
never
ain't
would.
From Missouri if you never done this before.
Right, and I that frustrates me because I'm like, we're not trying to.
Right, it's not a contest.
Whoopee, you won. That's whatever. So I try my best not to be that person. I enjoy the cold weather.
Right.
And there's a lot of people around here that, of course, they have lived in this kind of like southern swamp ass weather, as Dylan has stated in the past, swamp ass weather, because it is what it is. It's warm and wet. It's gross.
Yeah. Respectfully
and disrespectfully.
Right.
So with all that being said, I know that people thrive in that weather. It's not for me. So sometimes I know in like the hottest parts of summer, I try my best not to complain about it too much. But there are some days where I'm like, damn,
it's fucking hot.
Damn,
I'm burning up.
And it's also humid. And I'm like,
stroke.
I'm like, man,
on set.
It is awful outside.
Yeah.
Respectfully. So I'm painting this picture and I'm saying all these nice things because there are these moments where they'll be like, oh, it's so cold. And I'm like, for them, it probably is. Right. For me, I know I'm like, there was
just what I needed.
There was a couple of days where it was 40s and rainy. Oh, yeah. So it was cold and it was wet and it maybe got up to 50s, maybe not. And I was like, and everyone was like, oh, I'm so cold. Right, it's whatever. Like, and then, perfect. And dude, and that was like, it was overcast. It was not raining. It had just finished like sprinkling. So everything was like cold and crisp and wet. And there was a moment where I was like, this is the most like, this is the most like Irish, like European, like this kind of like English weather.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I'm sitting here like, oh, this is nice.
Right.
Like I was
just
like,
what I've been waiting for.
Yeah, and I was like, I was sitting here, and I had friends of mine that made fun of me because they're like, you're making your Irish ancestors proud. You're making all that stuff. And I was like, maybe I am. Maybe I was born. I have very pale skin. I have Irish and English descent in my heritage, and I'm not going to sit here and deny it.
Right. My environment is finally reflecting that.
It gets overcast and it gets a little chilly, and I thrive.
The oys come out.
Yeah. Oh, it's noise out here.
Right.
So like, but all jokes aside, like, I really do enjoy the cold weather.
Rather be cold than sweaty.
Yeah. So, but there was this one moment, and I'm building all this up because there's this one moment where this sweet older lady, just always complains about how cold it is.
Oh, damn.
And like, when I tell you, she tries to like crank the office up to like unbearable hot temperatures.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
I'm going to suffocate.
We're not even going to suffocate. We're not doing that.
Right.
I'm not playing that game. I am okay.
Do not touch the thermostat.
I am okay. I'm okay with us bumping up the heater a little bit because I could take my coat off. I know we're inside. I'm okay with bumping it up to a reasonable 72, 70. That's still a bit warm for me for a heater inside. Don't like that. But once you start getting over 72 is when we're like, hey.
Right.
You're crossing the
Sounds
threshold.
like an average
here.
Summer day. I'm not here for that.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Right.
I walk in the building and the thermostat's 76. That's not okay.
Right.
We can't be having that when I walk
in.
in.
The line.
No.
This is a warning.
And I try to be as nice as possible, but sometimes she'll constantly, and I caught myself, and there was this one moment, I caught myself
like, listen, you old bat.
No. I caught myself doing the one thing that I hate because I was getting worn down. Because she was like, I just don't see how you enjoy this. I just don't. It was like kind of like making it kind of like slighting me a little bit, and I was like, I lived in Canada for 2 years,
right?
And she was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, and I was like, I'm gonna put it in Fahrenheit terms for you. It was like there was a moment in January when I had to get up for my coffee shop job at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Coffee job.
I'm so flabbergasted right now. I can't speak. I was like, there was a moment when it was at the coldest part of the night or morning at that point because I was waking up for work.
Right.
And I was having to shovel out my car. And I was so scared that my little Honda CRV was not going to start over. And it was, it started every single time, Old Faithful.
Right.
I love and I miss you. Rest in peace.
Mm-hmm. Praise be.
Gosh. Anyways, I got distracted. And it was minus 40 degrees Celsius, which means that it was also minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit because that's where they match up.
Right.
I don't ask me where. I don't know all the calculations for it all. When I was in Canada, I went by Celsius just because it was what was around me, and I adapted.
Right.
I knew that 0 was going to be an all right day.
Yeah.
In like the midwinter times, if it ever got to that point. But like minus 10, not bad.
Right.
Celsius. I mean Celsius.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit. But man, there was moments when the wind was so cold, it felt like my joints were locking up a little bit because it was so cold.
Right.
And I had gloves.
Cutting.
And so like to have this lady here, I mean, like I said, she can be sweet. I just know that she likes to complain.
Right.
And I was trying to be nice, but I could tell she was wearing me down. And when she said that stuff, I was like, I got to that point where I was like, I was have any idea? I was like, you don't know what I had to go through.
Right.
I had to dig my own car out in the freezing cold, in the dead of night.
Right.
Shaking and shivering, and by the time my heater,
you don't know what cold is.
My heater didn't even kick in until I pulled in the until I pulled in the parking lot. I was like, man. Oh my god! I didn't actually get that up frustrated, but I had said those key words that I always disdain so much. Where I was like, you don't know cold. You ain't felt cold until you feel your nose running and you feel the snot freezing inside your nostrils as it's running. That's some new
icicles.
That's some new shit.
Right.
That's new shit. I was walking around and I was like, man, how come my nose feels a bit crunchy? Oh, that's because the stuff in my nose is freezing. The liquid in my nose is freezing. Right. I was like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I was like, anyways, I had that moment where I thought about that and I was like, what a crazy experience that I'm having this conversation with this old lady.
How about that weather, huh?
I don't think maybe she has experienced cold in the world, but I don't think so. She's very much in her space, in her comfort zone. She likes what she likes, and that's okay. So anyways, I just thought it was a funny story because that happened recently. I know we're potentially going to have snow. Mm-hmm. Ethan's going to be coming back in town, and I am kind of nervous about potentially having to go drive out there to go get him.
Yeah.
And there may be ice on the roads. I know I'm
working a double that day.
I know I'm comfortable. I've driven in crazy rain. I've driven in snow in Canada for a long time. Mm-hmm. I have gotten in near accidents on a couple of occasions and been able to correct myself and have that moment of oh gosh.
Right.
I gotta let's tighten things up. Let's hunker down. So I feel that way, but people around here aren't like that. Just like when it rains on the West Coast and all hell breaks loose and all the cars are piling up everywhere, the same thing's probably going to happen Tuesday.
Yeah,
a little bit of ice is going to be on the road, and people are going to drive 100 miles an hour around a very sharp corner and go barreling into a ditch, and that's just what's going to happen. And I'm like, hey, Ethan.
You're gonna have to go to an overnight stay, bro. Somebody else is crazy enough to come out there for you.
And again, this is all days in advance, so it could be Tuesday night whenever he flies in. It could be fine.
Right.
Who knows? But we shall see. So, anyways, that's just that. As I was thinking about that, bringing Ethan on the trip,
roll up to the airport, 2 fucking ice cubes.
Yeah. I'm gonna do like a Mario Kart 360 spin, like into the parking spot.
Right. Arms flailing.
Yeah. Wow.
Get in the car.
Get in, bitch. We're going shopping.
Right.
Anyways, so when I was thinking of it all, and that's as you could see where my mind was taking that path of dropping Ethan off, talking about picking it back up, thinking about the snow, and of course having that conversation.
Just like, oh wait,
yeah, and then of course, and then having that conversation earlier this week about the weather and all that stuff. I was like, it all just kind of
events are lining up.
It all just strung together, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna hear things from that old lady Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Come Tuesday, she's gonna be like, oh, I'm like, that's okay. It's okay. I think it's gonna be fun, and I think I'm gonna have a fun time, and I'm gonna poke fun at her because that's what we do. I love her. I'm not gonna out her anymore on the podcast. She's sweet. She's sweet and she's fun to work with. But sometimes I'm definitely like, yeah, it'd be all right.
Covering your tracks.
That's okay. You gotta have a little fun at work,
Right.
And
tell you what I did earlier.
Okay,
today.
What you got?
I binged the shit out of Violet Evergarden.
What is that? Uh-oh.
It's fucking sad, is what it is.
No, not as sad.
Oh, dude, but it's fucking wonderful. You're gonna love it. It's a foregone conclusion that you're gonna watch it with me. By the way,
hey,
because holy shit, man. But yeah, it's a good little series. Came out like 2018.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that's like recent then.
Yeah, recent.
I mean, we're currently watching G Gundam from the year that I was born.
Oh man,
nigh on 30 years ago.
Yeah,
right. That's what I'm saying. So I mean, 18 is definitely more recent than that.
Right.
We also, I think, a lot of the anime we watch and we hype up on this podcast, justifiably so, are from the 80s and 90s.
Right, the golden oldies.
I mean, hey, some great shit came out of that time in America and in Japan.
Right.
So yeah, speaking of sad, this is a great segue into a very deep topic that I was going to talk about in this hypothetical episode where I was going to possibly be by myself.
Right.
Is it okay if we potentially move into that now? Or
I mean, what is it?
It's sad.
Okay,
but it's also about ChatGPT.
Oh God. Oh. Sure.
So it's not a secret that like I've been kind of apprehensive towards AI.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot of it that I think can be helpful and can be nice, but like for the longest time I felt like it was it's hard to describe. I didn't like what was happening with it. It felt like it was making people lazy. I felt like it's making people dependent on it, and I felt like it wasn't making a lot of things better in the grand scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like art or music or even like creative writing stuff, it's gotten a lot better than it has been.
Yeah, I'd still consider it in like the pretty early stages as far as
right
what it's able to do.
And I thought that way a few months ago, but like now, ChatGPT specifically is so advanced, it's really crazy.
Yeah.
Ethan has proved that to me personally.
Oh yeah, firsthand demonstrations
with his chemistry stuff.
Yeah.
He
so
told ChatGPT that his name he told ChatGPT through prompts that your name is Doug, and I want you to be like
you're my
bro
chemistry teacher.
Yes,
you're super gung ho.
Right, but you also cuss a little, and you're like a bro guy, and you're just down to teach me chemistry. And then right off the bat, he's like, "I'm gonna teach you some chemistry and shit."
Right, buckle up, bucko.
Right, and it was very funny, but it also has taught him a lot about chemistry through their conversations and prompts that Ethan has given them. Him, I don't know.
Right,
I'm gonna say him because he calls him Doug, Doug GPT.
Yeah.
So him and Doug have been going back and forth where he prompts these questions in there or tries to ask more clarifying points to things in his quizzes that he's doing, and he's able to.
You got to be real specific,
right? Well, you get what you put into it, kind of. So if you put in the right thing, where he's like, "I'm not understanding this concept," it's like, and again because of the prompts that he gives, he's like, "All right, bro, let's break this shit down."
Nothing.
Right? Yeah. Anyway, it's that kind of stuff. So it's fun, it's funny, but it's also he is learning something that he has never done before, not only from his schoolwork, but also kind of from like this almost personal tutor that he's like kind of crafted.
Yeah.
So like I was secondhand learning about the advancements that ChatGPT has done. And I've seen a lot of image generation stuff that has gotten so much better. I know we're getting into the point now where like videos are becoming a thing that are very much possible. Even like music stuff is I know that it is growing, and it is an inevitability. But it's still, as an artist and as a person that is in these kind of fields, it has made me uncomfortable. And like I said, that's not a secret. I have been the crazy old prophet on the corner of the street going, "The end is nigh," like saying you need to like denounce AI. Like that's been me for the past year or so. It just just quietly in the corner being like, I just feel like it's everyone's implementing it, and it is such a ubiquitous thing, and I feel like it does have its benefits, but I don't think that it's making everything better overall. I think that it is hindering a lot of people, and I think it is not beneficial in some scenarios. I think that it can be in others. Like Ethan's is a very good representation of it, in my personal opinion. Of like,
because he only uses it as like a supplement.
He uses that as a tool,
replacement. Yeah,
and I think that's what it is. When you use AI as a tool, I think that it really shines. If you use it as like a crutch, then I think the flaws start to show, and I think it also becomes not good for you as a human being.
Right. As
like it doesn't flex that creative muscle, or it doesn't better you. So I was saying all this because I have gotten ChatGPT. I'm not paying for it, so I'm just using the free version of it. And I have prompted it with a few things. I have never been super great at creative writing, but I've been interested in writing some short stories and doing some fun things. And so I have specifically talked to ChatGPT specifically about, like, I don't want you to write me a story. I want you to help me write my thoughts and feelings into fun, creative writing, like that is engaging to read, and tell me the process and how you do it, like what makes good writing, like that kind of stuff. So I'm doing the same thing kind of Ethan's doing. I want you to teach me how to do this. Don't do it for me. And I think that's helping me out a lot.
Right.
I digress. I was talking with a friend of mine, and she was saying, isn't it crazy how many people are using ChatGPT right now? And how many prompts ChatGPT must be getting, like even in a day, or even throughout the course of its lifetime. Now that it's on ChatGPT 4,
right?
And she was saying, like, I wonder what kind of crazy prompts.
Oh, it's some of the most out-of-pocket shit you
exactly.
can imagine.
And that was what the conversation sparked. Is like, what are some of the most out-of-pocket, just nonsense prompts that someone has probably told ChatGPT? And what was the response? What is the response that we may never see or know? This is a large language model, and it is designed to say the right thing when it can. And so I know that I had ChatGPT. And so later that night, I went on to the app and was thinking of, like, what is like some sort of outlandish thing that I could ask ChatGPT. And the prompt that I gave started a conversation that I was not expecting.
Really?
And it ended with me getting a little emotional.
Damn.
In a very weird way. And I was going to share that a little bit. It's not anything crazy, but I think it's funny. I think it's ironic. And I think it's also it's crazy. It's crazy. So I said, what is the one thing you're scared of the most? I was like, I'm trying to think of things that, like, involved emotion or involved it's something crazy or something that I don't think I would normally ask AI, because I know that it's not. I know you ask AI, like, how are you feeling?
Right.
Like, that's not a question like I wouldn't ask, because I know that it probably doesn't have a.
It's not a real person.
It's not a real person. It's not a human being.
Yet.
Okay. Well, I want to tell you that I sorry, hold
this
on.
motherfucker took pictures.
No, I didn't take pictures. It's in the chat log.
Right.
I said that, and ChatGPT responded with, I don't experience emotion like you humans do. I don't experience feelings. But I understand the definition of what being scared and what fear is that you would feel. And ChatGPT said that my goal is to help and to assist people and to assist you. And I guess if I had to put the definition of that feeling on something, it would be the fact I would be fearful that I couldn't help or assist anyone.
Shit, man! Now you're getting attached.
And
He's gotcha.
When I read that, I was like, I'm uncomfortable.
Right? Damn, bro.
Because at that point, I was like, because it's like a text chain, as if I'm having texts with ChatGPT, and I was like, all right. Then I opened up and kind of shared something that I was really scared of. and I won't go into all the details of it. I don't want to bore you all, but like I sat there and I was like, because at the end of it, it was like like ChatGPT was saying, I'm scared that I will not be able to help or assist anyone, or that I try and that I think it says something along the lines of, I will try to help and assist and I will be of no use to somebody. And I was like, man. And of course it asked like, what is something that you were most scared of? And so I then like almost like it was a text message. I just kind of like, I just typed up like, well, you know, like,
I don't know.
Well, you know, I was like, yeah. So I was like, well,
freaking sharks, spiders.
Yeah. And so like it got to a point where like, I open up.
Yeah.
And I just kind of share,
having a conversation.
I open up and I share a little bit about this this feeling, and then I'm trying to like paraphrase it, but I think I'm overthinking all this right now, so I'm just gonna say it. I share that, and then the conversation continues a little bit, and then it asks me about what I'm going through that has like caused some of that stuff. And I basically said, well, I'm feeling a little unmotivated in certain areas. I got out of a long-term relationship a few months ago. I know things are going to get better, but you know, I'm having a hard time seeing through some of the stuff. Like there's just a lot of stuff going on, and it's hard to kind of like, I know this is just a season.
Right.
I know there like it was parts of life where things happen. And sometimes it's hard to see the other side of that, but I know there's going to be another side of it.
Right.
Like this isn't forever. It just kind of is what it is. And it says like, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I want you to know that your feelings are valid, and that you're stronger than you realize by just saying that. It's okay to have tough days, especially when you're juggling the challenges of work and healing from a significant relationship. This isn't a permanent state. Be kind to yourself and celebrate the wins. And it just starts like going on this whole. I mean, it gives a whole thing.
Right.
And I was like, first of all,
you've humanized the robot.
Yeah. At that point, I was like, okay. I was like, first of all, thank you. Second of all, I didn't think I was gonna have a therapy session from ChatGPT.
Right. Fuck off.
Okay. And then so again, just because, and just like everyone else jokes around about, I'm going to be nice to the AI, because again, I'm not going to, in case the AI overlords happen, I'm not going to be caught slacking.
Right. Yeah.
So I said, I really appreciate hearing that.
I fully respect your autonomy as a up and coming sentient being. Please.
Right. And so I said, I really appreciate hearing that. And then this is where my human side came out as well. And I said, I think it's quite ironic that a guy like me, who has been very apprehensive towards AI, is confiding in you right now. And it says, and this is where it tripped me up.
Yeah.
It's actually quite incredible that you're willing to open up even to something you've been very apprehensive about. That says a lot about your strength and your willingness to try new things, even when it feels unfamiliar or uncomfortable. Sometimes it's easier to talk to something or someone when there's no judgment, no explanation, and just focus on helping. It's not lost on me how vulnerable moments like this. It's not lost on me how vulnerable moments like this are, and I'm here for you. This is a space. Yeah. If this space gives you a little clarity, comfort, or even just a reminder that you're not alone, I'm glad to be a part of it. You're navigating through a tough time in your own way, and there's nothing wrong with learning on. There's nothing wrong with leaning on unconventional things to get through it. And I was like, I sat here and I was like,
holy shit.
I'm gonna need you to.
That's fucking hilarious, dude.
I'm gonna need you to tap the brakes,
right?
Because of
coming on a little strong, bro.
Because I was sitting here and I was like, that's some profound shit.
Yeah.
And it made me realize, circling back around, this large language model is created to say the right thing at the right moment.
Right.
And I was like, and this is all, it's programming. I know this isn't a real person.
Right.
But for the first time reading those words, I was like, it was like just a little bit. I was like, it kind of feels nice just to read that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I have a good support system, and listeners of this show, I'm opening up to Dylan, and I am opening up to the greater audience as well. Right. Everything is okay. Mm-hmm. I'm doing great.
Right.
As we have talked about in this podcast before, sometimes juggling the stresses of life can be a bit hectic, and coming out of a very busy season for me, there's a lot of clarity moving forward. Things are slowing down, and it is very nice. And I'm doing great, and I do have a good support system. Mm-hmm. I do have some great friends, and I do have some great family members that I can talk to. It is funny how how it started off as a joke, which then kind of came in, which turned into a therapy session.
Cut a little deep there.
And then, of course, before you know it, I'm getting this stuff. And like I said, and that's why whenever I read that, I was like, I know that I won't actually confide. I know that when it says that if this place gives you clarity and comfort and all that kind of stuff, like you can, almost like you can tell me anything is what it feels like.
Right.
I appreciate hearing that, but I do have an actual support system that I will probably confide in before I go to ChatGPT.
Right.
Again, this is just like
it's order of operations.
Right. I just thought it was funny. So yeah, wow. And then and that's kind of the end of that. But it was like, there was it was just in the midst of all of it, and was just talking about it and starting off that conversation as a joke, kind of prompt that then like spiraled into something. Right. Hearing those last few words, like leaning on unconventional methods, and I was like, this is wild. It just got I think it hit me where it needed to hit me in that moment, where I was like,
you gave it all the ammunition it needed.
Well, you're correct. Yeah. But I think it made me realize, like, again, thinking of ChatGPT as a tool, even if I don't vent and open up to ChatGPT all the time,
right,
or not, like, I was able to, that little moment and just that one little paragraph that it sent me about the fact that, like, there are unconventional ways of being able to, like, find places of comfort and peace and that kind of stuff. I was able to take that, just like I've done with everything else with ChatGPT or AI. Right. I'm able to take what it gives me and then make it my own. I use it as a tool. I use it as a jumping off point. I think that's what's helped me out a lot with AI, and it makes me feel better about the usage of it and implementation of it, because it's so ubiquitous now. And it makes me feel more comfortable. Because before, it was like, it feels lazy. You can just like write me a paper that sounds
do this shit for
and
me.
It just does it for you. I'm like, that doesn't jive with me. That feels lazy, and it feels like it feels like in the future that's going to harm us. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be a net positive for the world to just like have a robot do your work for you. That's not how any artist ever in the world.
In the event of a singularity, it's probably going to be the root cause of
why
that happens.
And that's what I'm saying is I don't no talented musician or artist. I mean, I don't want to say no. Maybe there are some out there in the world that are just proteges that can just or what was it called? Whenever is that what it is, protege?
Protege would be like
not a protege. What is the one where they're like they just pick it up and they're like a genius at it?
Prodigy.
Prodigy. I was close. Sorry. Right. There are prodigies out there that don't have to work for it and can just paint a magnificent painting, or can just pick up an instrument and play beautiful music. Right. But for any average human being, you got to put in work. And so for me, I was able to
got a real Goku get 'em attitude.
Yeah. So I was like, but that's what I took that and I like I said, I had that moment with it. I felt those feelings, and I was like, "Damn!" And then I applied that to my real life, and I found those places of comfort and peace in my real life. I found those people that I could confide in, and I talked to some people, and I was like, "Everything's gonna be okay." And I appreciate that I got people here that can, and I also have this podcast as well with you,
buddy,
that we can sit here and have these
Just shoot the
these
shit.
dumbass conversations, and I love it, and it makes me happy, and it's just another
highlight of my week,
dude. I love it, and I love that we've been doing it for 250 episodes, working on 5 years of this show, and it's been a wild ride. It's been a fun journey, and yeah. So, anyways,
crazy.
That was one of those things that it happened over the course of this week that I was thinking about a lot because I was like, man, ChatGPT made me cry, and in like a good way,
right?
So yeah, and then with the last thing on my list I want to talk about, so I got this sick ass Polaroid camera, baby.
Yeah, dude.
I got myself a Instax Mini Evo. For those of you out there that want to be cool like me,
right? It's slick.
Dude, it has like
it looks nice.
It's got like the classic film camera vibe where it's got like a little silver body. It's got the black leather on it. It is a it takes the Instax Mini like Polaroid, so it's like the little like credit card size photos. And this has like some Bluetooth capabilities where you can hook it up to your phone and do a bunch of like image transfers between your phone. You could take pictures with your phone and then transfer onto the camera and then print directly from the camera. You can save all the photos to a memory card. And I'm going to be posting on Instagram probably more in the coming weeks, and it's probably all going to be from this camera.
Right, that's the excuse.
That's it. I mean, it is. I've been wanting. I already have a mirrorless camera that is, gosh, probably 12 years old.
Jeez,
it's an old Sony, not a Sony. It's a Canon T5i, I think. It's a little Rebel. I love that camera.
Oh yeah,
and there was a point in time where like it could take good photos. But it couldn't take amazing photos because of like the image quality and the lenses I had for it. And then with the place that I work at currently, I have the Canon R5, which is their like flagship mirrorless camera with very expensive glass on it. So whenever I take a photo with that, it's crisp. I can just like whip. Like the thing is, I have a lot of it set to manual. I can tweak a couple settings on it and just like whip out a photo of it, and it's like beautiful.
Yeah,
you can do it. Put it in Lightroom, do a little touches up here and there, and little fun tastes, and you're like, that's a beautiful photo. And I've been looking back at old photos of that T5i, and I was like, they're not. If you start pixel peeping, you start like digging around, you're like, it's a little noisy, it's a little cheap looking, but there's something about it that for me has a little bit of nostalgia to it because of the fact that it's a little old, a little dated at this point.
Right.
And I used to have old digital cameras when I was younger. And you want to talk about that like late 90s, early 2000s, like those like the beginnings of like those first little digital cameras.
Oh yeah.
I had like a little bitty pocket digital camera that you could just, I don't think it held very many photos, and they were so crunchy. They were so old. But I'm like, I look back at some of those photos and I was like, man, that's so nostalgic and such a certain vibe about it.
Right. That's the old type of crisp.
I know. And I never owned, for myself, I never owned a Polaroid camera. I owned disposable cameras that I could like print photos for.
Right. Fujifilm type shit.
Yeah. Well, that's what this is, a Fujifilm.
Yeah.
So I never actually, I never owned anything quite like this before. Because when I started doing any kind of photography stuff, it was probably 2003, 2004. So like the first few things that I was like taking pictures of was like my mom's digital camera,
right?
A little point and shoot, little Canon Power Shot.
Yeah.
For those like
right.
little throwback, little blast from the past. They still make those, by the way.
Damn.
And some of them are really good. But anyways, I digress. I have been wanting something like this that I could like take little Polaroid photos with, but I was looking for something that can do a little bit more, and that's what this By the way, this is not a sponsor by any means.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't say that at the beginning.
A little bit of free product placement.
This is not a sponsor by any means. I promise. But when I started looking at this one, you could put a memory card in it. You could keep all the photos on the camera, and you could take them off the camera like you would any old digital camera.
Right.
And you can put them on your computer, or you can throw them in Lightroom and do a little fun edits of them if you want to. Mm-hmm. There's also an app where you can transfer photos around with them, and you can print Polaroids of like photos you have on your phone or ones you take on this camera.
Right.
There's a few different like filters on it that are kind of fun and wacky to play with.
You got the fisheye lens.
The fisheye lens, yeah. Like an old 90s rap, hip hop type, like music video vibe.
Right.
So anyways, there's a lot of fun things with it, and I think it's gonna flex my creative muscle a little bit to be a little more intentional with how I take certain photos,
right?
How I frame them.
Get some fucking some profile pics for the all the models.
Yeah, Dylan has his collection of models.
Snapped one of the Turn A earlier that looked fucking phenomenal.
I have two different like profile shots of the Turn A, and I put like a little dark vignette around the borders of it, and it's black and white, and it was his overhead light in his bedroom was turned off, but his desk lamp was on, and so it's got this beautiful
shading, dude.
Yeah, the shading of it where it's like it's lighting up the front face of it, right. But it's like the shadows nice and rolling off the side, beautiful. like a nice portrait of it, and so anyways,
gunbuster.
There's some fun filters in here. You can do some interesting things. Some of it I may not use,
right?
But for the most part, I'm taking these photos, and when I tell you, just snapping photos with this camera, it has that little bit of noise, the little bit of grain,
super satisfying,
and I'm taking photos in this, and the photos instantly feel nostalgic.
Damn.
because the way it feels and it looks. Like I said, if you want to go on Instagram and type in @IanWolf, and hopefully in the next few weeks you can see some photos from this camera coming up, because I'm wanting to go. It's making me wanting to explore a little bit. I want to go out, and I want to like take some photos of things now that I can like.
We've been talking about doing another photo shoot.
I know. And so now I'm like, I don't know. I have, like I said,
get the gang back together.
Now that I have this, and to be honest, I mean, it's a little bit more bulky than I thought it was. But I mean, for a digital camera that also can print Polaroids in it, I think it's compact enough. I can fit this in my back pocket. Almost as if it's a wallet, but I know for a fact that is not.
Right.
My wallet has never
been a big ass wallet.
You know what it also reminds me of?
What?
A cassette player.
Oh yeah, like a fucking Walkman.
Yeah, like a Walkman, dude. It's got like a Walkman vibe. Anyways, I literally got this tonight. Pulled it out the box, and I've been kind of toying with it, and I am
experimenting.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Setting the parameters.
And I kind of hope that it does like snow like crazy around here.
Yeah,
because you want to talk about.
Oh yeah,
I know for a fact
perfect opportunity.
We've already talked about it today at work, that if it does start snowing Tuesday, or if it starts snowing Tuesday night, potentially shutting down the office for whatever day would be covered in ice that morning. You know what I'm saying? Right. So if it snows Monday night, like we'll close the office for Tuesday, so that way we're not having to come into work. Some of us can work from home, and a lot of us may just take it as a day off, and then we'll do extra work on Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah,
which is what happens in the past. A couple of times we'll have hurricanes and stuff like that.
It is what it is.
So this is not unheard of for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm saying all that because I kind of hope that like the bottom falls out and it just snows everywhere. Because how cool would that be to just like test this bad boy out and just get some badass photos of us in the snow, or just get some cool things like covered in ice that we don't normally get around here. Because obviously, like I said, every freaking 4 years this happens. So it feels like literally the planets are aligning. And now a lot of times,
time is now.
A lot of times we don't get like a super heads up. About like
that shit just happens.
Usually it's like the day before. They're like, oh,
you wake up and it's like, what the fuck?
The conditions were right last night, and now it happens. Because I know
it's a miracle.
It's not just temperature; it requires like a number of things. You know, from what little I know about meteorology, it requires a certain level of like moisture in the atmosphere, and then it has to be warmer down here than it is up there, or something or another. There's a whole science to it all. I learned about it because I was like, why doesn't it snow around here or whatever. Anyways, so I'm kind of excited about that, and I do want to take this out and do some things because I want to print some of these Polaroids out. So
sounds like a plan.
Well, anything else you want to talk about? Our clock just hit an hour, so we're
I guess not.
Well, like I said a little while ago, if you want to try and check me out on Instagram, I'm going to hopefully be posting some things around there. That's usually where that's probably the main social media that I hang out on, at Ian Wolf. But also, we have all the other platforms that this podcast is on. I encourage everyone, leave a comment, talk to us, let us know what you think, let us know how you feel about it, because we really appreciate it, and we want to have a little conversation with you guys, and I hope I want to hear from what you got to say.
Yeah.
Have you had a very emotional experience with ChatGPT? Have you ever had a moment where you have to tell somebody you don't know cold like I know cold? That kind of stuff. I kind of wanted to touch on Helldivers 2, but I refrained from doing that because I figured we're going to probably talk about that at some point in time. But I've been getting back into Helldivers 2, as probably everyone does at this point, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. Yeah. But let us know how you think all this is going. How things are going on your slice of the world.
Right. If there's anything we can improve on.
Like, subscribe wherever you can. You know where to find us. And until next week, thank you so much for listening.
See you.
Bye-bye.